It's the Class 1 amalgam on tooth number 20. You can see here the first step is to try the condenser. Make sure it's not too small, well, too large, that it can fit into the prep. Mix the amalgam, and then you fill the small end of the carrier, and you need a little push here to make it stay in. You can see I lose some, and that's kind of a normal thing until you get used to it, especially on the upper. I kind of put half of the small carrier because you only want a little amount. You want the small condenser to really just push a little bit. You can kind of see I concentrate on the distal portion and watch how I'm condensing a little bit at a time so I can really see what I'm doing. 8 to 10 pounds of pressure along the occlusal floor. Overlapping strokes of the condenser, adapting it against the occlusal floor, kind of recycling anything I pick up along the way, and then I concentrate on angling the condenser into the line angles. Right there, the bucco, occlusal line angles, lingual occlusal line angles, just to make sure that it all adheres to the internal surfaces of the prep. And then you need another small increment. You can see you push and just express it, and just try to adapt it best to the tooth. This is tooth number 20, so gravity's working with us here, but you can see I take the condenser and just tamp it down to make it stay. On the upper you would do that a little more forcefully. Overlapping strokes again, because you're working to, your goal is to have one mass of amalgam instead of, you know, increments. You're going to make it gel together and set as one unit. And then you can see here that the condenser gets larger. As the increments go up, the time gets a little quicker and the increments get larger. It looks as if it's over mixed here. It looks so shiny, but it really wasn't when I was working with it. But that's kind of what it looks like as the magnification of the camera. And then I just use the side of the condenser there to sort of start to adapt it to the cavo surface. A lot of people use a burnisher here just to, again, make sure that everything is sealed. Go over it lightly, and you can see how it's not really workable yet. If this were in the mouth, I would let it set a little till it has a little more resistance, depending on your speed and fast set or slow set of amalgam. 21B is critical that you use it correct. Notice that I push it down and you can't see the tip of it, and you can see that the amalgam kind of dulls, and you can see the distal fossa there, the triangular fossa. Push down pretty forcefully, and you have the mesial fossa, and then this stroke is the scary one. You push to connect the dots, and all the excess just kind of falls away. You really don't want to draw with this instrument. You want to push, and if you have the amalgam in the right consistency, you can see that most of my anatomy is done. I have distal fossa, central groove, mesial fossa. Then I take the tip of the discoid, of the cleoid end actually, tip in the central groove and the fossa and leaning on the side of the tooth, and I carve toward the mesial, and any excess, since I'm leaning on the tooth, comes off with my carver. The hard part, if you're right-handed, the lingual will be easy, the buccal will be difficult, and vice versa if you're left-handed. So the hard part is just adaptation of the particular quadrant you're working in and the positioning of your fulcrum and instrument, and that's what you just need practice with. So you can see I turned about 9 o'clock here, and I just do it the other way. So I position the carver that it's at the same angle, that half is on the tooth while the tip of the instrument is in the central groove. And then you could refine it. I mean, at this point I would probably check occlusion before you go crazy adding any secondary anatomy. Some people like the discoid end to kind of run down the side as I'm showing here. Check occlusion at this point and then put any extra anatomy in. I like also a cotton roll, kind of rubbed along when it's set enough. It puts a nice finish on it, and then you can go back and burnish and polish in 24 to 24 hours. I'm just kind of playing here to show you the positioning of the carver again. So practice and feel free to ask any questions. Have fun.